Hey guys, happy Halloween. I'm Captain Foley. It is Halloween 2024, and I wanted to take a look back at some older costumes. I originally wanted to do just Star Trek, and then I found some great Star Wars ones and thought we're going to have like a conversation about different costumes over the years, from homemade ones, and it's hard to find images because you type in sci-fi Halloween costumes homemade, you add vintage, retro, old picture, and you get a lot of modern stuff. There is some modern stuff in here that we're going to look at, but I wanted to look at some of the older stuff before there was like mass produced stuff that people could buy to create costumes, because people were very creative and innovative. You know the word I'm talking about, back in the day. And so we're going to take a look at some today and kind of discuss them and hopefully have some fun. So anyway, happy Halloween, guys. Be safe out there if you're going trick-or-treating, or you're taking your kids trick-or-treating, or even if you're just handing out candy. Just be safe. Have fun. Watch a horror movie. Enjoy yourself. Anyway, let's get right into it. So this first one is one that's quite a famous one. This is a young lady by the name of T.J. Burnside Clapp from Arlington, Virginia. And she made this costume when she was 16 back in 1977, the same year that Star Wars came out. She basically did this on her own. She loved the movie. She went and watched the movie quite a few times and made this amazing X-Wing pilot costume. Everything looks really good, honestly, and I'm super impressed. Let's be honest. And this is one that's been around for, well, since 77. But it's been on the internet for as long as the internet's been around, probably. But anyway, it looks fantastic. Got to give her a lot of props and credit for the amount of work and effort that she put into this, having just visual references from her memory. I think it's great. Even the thing on her chest is fantastic. The helmet, I mean, it's not quite right X-Wing helmet, but it looks like just a roller skating helmet. Got a chin strap and it doesn't have the back. It's fine. But anyway, kudos to her. This is an amazing costume, and I definitely couldn't do something like this. And this was, like I said, before anything was mass produced, really, for that kind of thing. So a lot of props and credits to her. Now the first couple we're going to look at are Star Wars based ones, and then we'll get into the Star Trek stuff near the end. But hopefully you enjoy. Next up we got this guy who I don't have a backstory on him. The first one is the only one I really have a backstory on. But this guy built his own X-Wing to not only be the pilot, but to be actually flying it. And I gotta say, it looks kind of cool. A little bit of the stubby, kind of cutesy X-Wing, but I mean, it works. Look at all that wood paneling. I don't know what year this was from either, but worth pointing that one out as well. So as I said, I don't know what year this picture was taken, but I apologize for the quality of some of these pictures. Some of them were quite hard to get a good copy of, so I hope you enjoy regardless. Next up we have another version of this, but a more modern one. This little kid is so happy and so proud of himself. That must have been a pain in the butt to walk around in, especially at a school event, because you'd be bumping into walls, water fountains, other kids. But no, this is a very interesting take on it, and I think probably a little bit better X-Wing than the last one. But this kid is so happy. That looks so great. And again, everything looks homemade, which is fantastic. So it's cool. Oh, this picture is from a parade. Clearly, this couple is dressed as an AT-AT, and I gotta say, pretty impressive idea, honestly. Although I don't know if I want to be attached to somebody like that walking in a parade, but hey, it is what it is. And by the way, the result of this pairing is actually the reason that ATSTs exist. That's how little ATSTs are born. Moving on, sorry about that. Homemade Boba Fett costume. Again, this is quite an old school picture. Probably from early 80s, because that's when Boba Fett made his appearance. I believe it was in 1981 that The Empire Strikes Back came out. I could be wrong about that. But look at this. Look at the room. Look at the room around him. He's got a Star Trek Enterprise D model on the floor. He's got wood paneling. He's got an Unforgiven poster, Army of Darkness. It's great. It's a pretty simple costume, honestly. Got some knee pads, some duct tape on the shins, duct tape around his crotch, and also a cardboard chest plate. And the helmet itself is quite interestingly made. It's actually a cool looking helmet. Yeah, props to this guy. This is not the bounty hunter you're looking for, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it is. Anyway, these I've seen quite a few of these running around. Ewok costume, Wicket from Return of the Jedi, and yeah, these are really cute. It's cute. Come on. And I've seen a few of these even at London Comic Con. This kind of style, and I like it. It's a nice, interesting take. You get the idea of what it is, yet it's still kind of sexy and cutesy. So, yeah. Ooh, Count Vader. Again, don't know what year this is from, but this is just a gentleman that has a Darth Vader helmet. Obviously not homemade. It's probably one of the early versions that were released. It has the red lenses for Darth Vader, which is kind of cool. But he's clearly got just a Count Dracula type costume going on. A tuxedo with a bow tie and a cape with the red lining, the red silk lining inside, and white gloves. It's quite an interesting idea. And of course that's probably his son or something sitting on his lap with the cape as well. But nice take. I don't know if he was going for like a full Vader type vibe, but a formal Vader. I like that. It's kind of an interesting idea. So yeah, I thought this one kind of stood out to me as being kind of cool. So next up, we got a bunch of kids from, I can only assume would be like 1977 or 1978, right after the movie came out. You got Han Solo on the left there with a blue vest or waistcoat, as the British among you would say. You got Princess Leia in a pretty simple outfit, but got the hair, gets the point across. You got Luke behind them wearing like a gi from karate, but looks homemade. And that's fine. He's got the hair for Farm Boy Luke. And then you got Darth Vader there wearing all black with something that's strapped to his chest, supposed to be the control panel, a brown leather belt, and a jewel-encrusted lightsaber, which is just basically a sword, and some kind of weird facial mask. But I mean, hey, it's a good attempt. It's good. Han Solo even has a little blaster there. Obviously all homemade stuff, and it must have been great to have parents that would make this stuff for you or help you make it. I grew up in that time. Like, I was born in '74, so I get it. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in just a second here, but yeah, this is pretty interesting. Good idea. Now these are, I think they're Rubies is the company. And again, I apologize for the quality of this picture. It's not ideal. But these things, you remember these things. You bought these costumes back in the day. They had a plastic mask and a plastic smock that had a picture of the character on them. I never really did understand that as a kid. It always disappointed me. Like, yes, I like the character. I want to be the character. I don't want to wear the character's face on my chest. That's not how costuming works. Even back then, these things kind of bothered me. The Chewie one is pretty good because it's got his bandolier. The other ones, I mean, Yoda and the Stormtrooper are just kind of like, all right. I mean, I think that the Chewbacca one's the best of the three here. And the irony is, of course, that Chewie is the shortest. So, yeah. Here's a nice mix. We've got, I believe that's Snoopy on the right. Yeah, it is. And a Darth Vader. Again, just the cape and the Star Wars smock. It even says Star Wars on it. and the Darth Vader helmet, which isn't too bad actually. It's got big eyepieces, which is nice. And you got He-Man and Skeletor as well. Now, if anybody lived through that period of time, you know that if you tried one of these costumes, you had a plastic mask that had a elastic around the back to hold it on your head, and it was not comfortable. The eyepieces were usually too small. You couldn't really see out of them. They didn't sit well against your face. And it was also like razor sharp plastic in some instances. Not fun to wear. Plus, there's a little hole for you to breathe through, and generally when you're out and about trick-or-treating, it's a little bit cooler of a night, and you got a buildup of condensation under the mask, and your face just got wet and soaked, and it was awful, and you just couldn't wait to get the mask off. And honestly, you probably wore the mask for the first like 2 or 3 houses and then took it off, put it on top of your head, occasionally would slip it down to go to a door. Come on, we've all been there. We've all done that, if you're my age anyway. If you're younger, you don't understand, and I feel bad for you because it was a torturous event as a child and something that everybody should have lived through. But we're better now as a society, so let's move on. Here we got 2 other ones. I believe that's the same Stormtrooper outfit as the last one. This Wookiee one looks a little bit different though. The smock doesn't have the bandolier, is clearly not as Wookiee-like. However, this Wookiee has the height advantage on that Stormtrooper, which is good. He might be a little short for a Stormtrooper, but in relation, the Wookiee is a good size. So, but again, having the face of the person on the... I get it. I get what they were doing, but at the same time, couldn't you have made better costumes? And the worst thing about these was, depending on where you lived, sometimes it was snowing on Halloween, so you'd put this on, and then you have to put a coat on over top of it anyway. So that always kind of sucked. Hopefully this year will be better. The forecast is looking good for this Halloween. You are watching this on Halloween. I'm watching this, or I'm recording this on the Friday before, so the forecast looks good, at least for my area in London, Ontario. So happy trick-or-treating, guys. Hopefully you don't have to wear a coat and ruin your costume. That always bothered me as a kid as well. Made me so mad when I put a lot of time or effort into a costume. I was so proud to wear one, or so happy to wear one, and then I had to cover it up with a goddamn coat. It just annoyed me. Nobody got to see it. Next up is this guy, and I love this one. We've got some Playboy bunnies there with the Starfleet uniform styled stuff. He's got a Captain Kirk inspired robe and the Delta hat and the pipe. And I gotta say, Captain Foley approves. I came up with this version of that very same thing myself. Captain Foley approves. And it's super comfortable. It's the Star Trek robe. I got a little bandana, I guess, with the Enterprise and stuff on it that I put in like a almost like an ascot, but not really. And then, of course, the hat was made by my good friend Noel, who gave that to me, and it's a Starfleet kind of Admiralty hat. And then, of course, my Sherlock Holmes pipe. And this was at London Comic Con. You can see the Enterprise thing around my neck here, and I gotta say, it was fun to wear this. It was just simply a robe over my regular clothes, and it looked really good. So I 100% approve of this guy doing the thing. And I didn't have the attractive ladies on my arm like he did, but that's fine. His robe's a little nicer. It's kind of more like got a silk tie around and stuff like that, and the black collars, the black cuffs of that really work. There's also a picture of me here with my chest hair sticking out, even though I don't actually have any chest hair. It's a tribble. I put a tribble in there. Got a few good laughs at the convention. So anyway, I approve 100% of this costume. So, but moving on. Now we're into the Star Trek stuff. Clearly, here you got a Spock superhero costume. Again, I apologize for the quality of this image, but picture of Spock with a yellow glow around him, which, if you know anything, he is wearing a white belt, which means from the animated series they had something called life support belts. So instead of wearing a spacesuit, they wore a white life support belt, which had projected a force field around their body, kept them alive in the vacuum of space. Now the Delta is not quite correct. Here's a close-up of it. says Mr. Spock, but the delta's got like a weird shape at the bottom, not quite correct at all. But again, I don't know. I was going to say I don't know how licensed this was, but if you look, it does say 1973 Paramount Pictures Corporation. The Enterprise looks god awful. Yeah, I would not have been happy wearing this. As much as I loved Star Trek growing up, I couldn't have done it. And look at the communicator in his hand. The antenna grid is flipped way back. Kind of like my friend Cliff's when I broke his. We were filming were we filming? Yeah, we were filming a live, and he gave me his communicator, which is the Diamond Select one, and I flipped it, and the antenna grid snapped all the way back. So Spock's got a broken... By the way, Cliff, I'm sorry, I have a replacement for you, because it was one of the early Diamond Selects with the metal antenna grid. I got him a replacement. It's fine. Here are two more side-by-side, Star Trek costume and mask. And yeah, I kind of prefer the one on the left, honestly. The delta's more accurate, even though looks like there's a baseball in the middle of it. It's not quite the science symbol. The Enterprise looks a hell of a lot better, even though it's red and yellow and says Star Trek on it. But at least looks more like the Enterprise. And even the representation of Leonard Nimoy as Spock on the chest there is a lot better. The gold around the neck, though, kind of reminds me of something Romulan. So, I don't know. But yes, I would prefer the one on the left as opposed to the right if I had to choose as a kid. Here's another version. Collegeville costumes. There you got your Spock mask. And the Spock mask is pretty cool, honestly. I wouldn't mind getting one or two of those old school masks to put on the wall or something. And this smock is quite different. It's kind of got the color of, like, Dr. McCoy's medical smock. But the Enterprise looks beautiful in this one. And it does say Enterprise on it. It says Star Trek underneath, which is a lot better. The Delta is a lot better. The Delta looks more like it should, even though it's hard to see in this picture. But it does say Mr. Spock along the collar. It's a toss-up as to which are the best here. So here's one from after the motion picture was released. Of course, you've got Spock mask and then a really oddly colored smock. I don't know why they went with pink, green, yellow, and black. But you've got the new Delta there with the circle behind it. You got a picture of Spock, Admiral Kirk, and Ilia, and the new refit Enterprise, and it does say Star Trek the Motion Picture. Enterprise looks great again. Get the Enterprise right if you're going to do anything like this, but the color choice is quite odd to me, so I'm not quite sure what's going on over there. It's fine, it is what it is. Next up, we got a Captain Kirk shirt. This is similar to the other one we saw. The yellow collar again. All right representation of William Shatner on the chest, and the Enterprise again looks good. It's the same one as the other one. I don't know why the belt, though. There's like a belt put on there, and the Delta's kind of sideways, and I don't understand that. And even the one on the chest is not the right kind of Delta. First of all, the way the bottom is totally wrong, but it's angled. And I don't know if that's supposed to represent like the animated series where they kind of had a more angled look to the Delta. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But for some reason it looks like there's a penny there beside for size comparison. We needed a banana, but we have a penny, and that's fine. Here's two other ones. That's the Mr. Spock one we looked at just a minute ago, which you couldn't see very well, so I apologize. The Delta looks a little bit better. The Enterprise looks fantastic. It's a great shot of the TOS Enterprise. And I'm sorry for my snoring dogs. It's Halloween ghostly sounds. So anyway, but Mr. Spock on the collar. We also have a original Klingon. And if it's based on the animated series, which it probably is, the pink actually works, because the pink, they wore pink in the animated series, the Klingons did, and I think it's because, well, the urban legend is the gentleman behind some of the choices was colorblind, and he thought pink was gray. That's why we have a gray or a pink ship for the Kzinti in the Slaver Weapon episode, and why the Kzinti are all wearing pink. It's supposed to be gray and silver, like jumpsuits, but they're not. They're pink. So this works really well. You got a picture of a Klingon on the front there who looks very much like Leonard Nimoy, which is interesting. Star Trek on the belt buckle. You've got the communicator, and a Klingon disruptor. Now, you never really saw Klingon disruptors that much early on, so it's interesting that that's there shoved in his belt. The communicator, of course, is not a Starfleet issued communicator, but it looks like one of the toy walkie-talkies that you used to get back in the day as a communicator. Interesting choice. But again, the color palette, a bit much. I mean, to be fair, you're out at night. You need cars and people to be able to see you, so that's fine. Here is one of the Klingons from the motion picture. Now, this is really good, actually. Despite the fact that there's a picture of the Klingon on the chest, at least it's got like the Klingon shoulder things right, even though it's yellow. But it's a really good representation of the Klingon. It's a really nice picture, actually. But then you see Star Trek the motion picture, it says Klingon, and the mask is pretty good. Those are called the pie crust heads because they kind of resemble pie crust, some of them. But that's a very good Klingon mask. Again, wouldn't mind having one. Oh my goodness. The ridges are highlighted yellow for some reason. He must be going through some kind of weird mating ritual or cycle, and maybe they flush yellow or something, or they just paint them yellow. Maybe it's a fashion thing. I don't know. But at least this is pretty good. We've got an Ilea one as well. There you can see the Ilea mask on the left-hand side, and you got the full body image of Ilea, which, I mean, full body image of Ilea, can't complain, right? Colors, again, a little weird, but it does say Star Trek the motion picture at the top, Ilea, and it does have the proper, correct delta, which is nice. But the colors, it's fine. Star Trek the motion picture costume and mask. Here is it in the box. Of course, you see the movie logo at the bottom there, and Captain Kirk peeking out, asking desperately for help. No, that is not Michael Myers. That is, in fact, William Shatner. If you know, you know. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, next up we have this is another one of the Starfleet bunny, or Starfleet bunnies. Got holding a Diamond Select phaser. These of course aren't old school anymore. We're kind of getting into more modern stuff. There'll be some old. It's fine. I just threw in a bunch of pictures. So, holding a Tribble, which is concealing her cell phone. Nice touch. And I do love the cuffs on these as well. But there she is. I love these costumes for various reasons. This one looks like it's probably from a convention. You got a gentleman dressed as Kirk and two Orion slave girls. They look fantastic. And again, I think one thing I might do, if this is popular, if you guys like this... Sorry, the camera stopped recording. I was going to say, if you enjoy this kind of video, looking at these kind of things, I wouldn't mind doing one looking at costumes exclusively from STLV, Star Trek Las Vegas. Over the years, there's been some fantastic ones. I believe this is more what you'd see. Sure, some homemade stuff, but also some really cool creative ideas. So if you're interested, drop a link down, or drop a like first of all. What am I talking about? Then go into the comments section and let me know that you want to see more of this. I got to adjust the camera just a tad. I apologize. Hold on a second. Is that better or worse? I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. This is one of the first ones I put in. It's literally just a store-bought TNG sweater, jumper if you're in the UK, with the comm badge on it, and then he put rank pips up here, and wrong placement for the rank pips, but it's fine. You look passable. Here's two homemade ones. Again, I don't know what year these are from, but clearly TOS inspired. Not much to say. Homemade deltas, and the deltas, again, don't have the correct bottom points, but that's fine. That's just a sticky point for me. His ears look good. He looks very Vulcan. Her uniform looks fine. Should be a little bit lower cut here, like a little bit more of a scoop neck, but that looks good as well, so I can't complain about that. You know, it's an older picture. Not quite sure when this is from, but interesting. Now we're back to some of these Ruby's fabric costumes, children's medium 8 to 10. This is a Borg from TNG, and this smock works. There's no picture of the Borg on there. It doesn't say Star Trek Next Generation Borg. It's literally just the piping and the Borgified accessories, and there's no problem with that. I love that. It's kind of great, honestly. So kudos to them. Here we got some homemade ones, or a homemade one. That is, I guess, Worf, but as a commander and in blue. Anyway, got the sash. Good headpiece. I mean, it's very Klingon. And there she is with some of her friends. So cannot complain about that. She might be another Klingon in Starfleet, because clearly, I mean, it's not Worf, but that's fine. That's all good. Here's this lady's amazing. She's a fantastic cosplayer. The one on the right here, and the other one as well. These are from, again, conventions. So I'm throwing these in to get your thoughts on things. If you want me to kind of cover convention costumes or cosplay costumes, I will definitely do so. Just comment down below and let me know that it's something you want to see, something you'd be interested in, because I want to hear your thoughts. Again, here's more of the same. This is what you'll be getting. This is a mocked up captain's chair from TNG, and you've got a Kelvinverse woman there with in the middle, and then two TOS, and they look fantastic, although I don't think the boots on the one sitting down are regulation, being just the ankle boots, but it's fine. It's good. I'd have things to say about all of these. So, ooh, here's another one from one of the JJ films. This is a Klingon, and this is a pretty cool costume. This is like one of the store-bought ones, obviously, but I kind of like the way this looks. It's actually a good costume, a good look. Although the Klingons in that movie did wear helmets, and you know, as the Klingon saying goes, I mean, only a coward hides behind a mask or helmets. So are these warriors? I don't know. I won't get into the whole JJ-ness of it, but it looks good. It looks good. Here's another cosplay one. Again, homemade though, but it looks really great. This is a Borg, of course. Of course, a Borg. I don't know. Anyway, looks good. And this is something, like I said, I want to cover more cosplay stuff if you guys are interested, kind of get my thoughts on them, critiques, even though I shouldn't talk. I don't have the guts or the intelligence or the ability to make a lot of this stuff myself, so I got to give these guys a lot of credit and a lot of props. They do fantastic jobs, so anyway, there you go. But speaking of Worf, here of course is a Worf's costume. Again, it's one of the Ruby's ones, and again, not a picture of him on it. They've kind of upgraded their game since those early days of those costumes. This of course looks like Worf, has a good representation of him. The smock is great, it's got the right rank, it's got the delta, the comm badge, and the sash, not so shabby. The mask probably still slices your face up and makes you get all wet and gross, but hey. And there it is hanging up as well, so you get a better kind of picture or view of it. And it's a really good mask. It's a good representation, I think. So, and last up we have, of course, you know, a Ferengi superhero. This is Quark, and he's a superhero, don't you know? I love that it says superhero on the box. Ferengi from Star Trek The Next Generation. So this isn't actually Quark. It does say on the top there from The Next Generation. So it's just a Ferengi. They were supposed to be the big bad guys, the major threat in TNG, and they came off a little goofy, so they kind of backburnered that idea. But anyway, so there you go. There's a look at some Halloween outfits and stuff from over the years, and I thought it would be fun for a Halloween episode of my videos. So hopefully you enjoyed. Comment down below if you wore any of these, if you have any of these, if there's any that you would like me to take a look at, or if you want me to do the cosplay variant of this same idea and actually look at like professional cosplays. Some of them are fantastic, and some of them come up with the most creative and innovative and ingenious ideas. So let me know and I will do that for sure. In the meantime though, please, like I said, hit like, comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, which is the Captain Foley personal channel, as well as the Trekyards main channel, where we're going to look at a lot of things Star Trek, because that's what we do all the time, have been for 10 years now. And also, check out another video by me right over here. So until next time, I'm Captain Foley. Happy Halloween, everyone.